Okay, so on to deployments. Our first deployment was in May. That was the direct side of the business. Again, the smaller of the applications. We did both international and domestic at the same time. The the deployment actually took 34 hours. We did it over a weekend. You can see the extract and load time was almost half of it. It was 16 hours. We did about 12 hours of what we call smoke testing, and the business came in and revalidated stuff, checked the financials, make sure we tied penny to penny, which we did. And then we ran our first batch run. And in the first 72 hours, we only had 29 issues identified. It's pretty cool. Our second implementation, I'm still trying to catch up from sleep on, happened, we went live Monday, 3 days ago, with vendor, which was 10 times the size again, right? At the end of the day, the business didn't really care about the direct side because it's a small part of our business. The direct side, if something goes wrong there, we're in deep, deep, deep trouble. So again, we did international and domestic. Deployment took 48 hours, and a lot of that really came out of the extract and load. Like I said, a lot more data coming out of that system than we did. And I think we had even less issues. Again, we had 14 issues opened in the first. Wait, no, still. Look at my BlackBerry. Still only 14 issues. We're still in that first 72 hours. I think the biggest testament to the success of these deployments is we went live Monday morning at 7 a.m. I'm here talking to you guys, not home fighting fires. It went well. It went really, really well. Thank you. Thanks. We didn't plan this timing either. Thanks, Dale. So, all right, what did we get out of this, right? At the end of the day, we got everything we wanted. Our annual run cost decreased by 66%, right? Our uptime, our ability to bring an application up in a disaster increased 240%. On the mainframe disaster, 4 days to bring that application back up. You're waiting for your loan, right? See you in 4 days. Acceptable, but not optimal. New environment, 4 hours. It was awesome. Application footprint decreased 78%. Right, like we talked about from the assessment. Saved a ton of storage costs there, saved complexity, people looking for stuff that doesn't even apply anymore and trying to jam it into production. And then, most importantly, from my point of view, that platform that now supports the growth and the innovation that the rest of the business wants. Right? All those applications, our Siebels and all of our origination applications, can now move forward with what they want to do because, hey, I'm in a relational database now. I can do some of the things you need me to do. I can make that data available. Right? Our next steps are going to be, hey, let's SOA enable this thing. Right? We're not there yet. We're recovering from this one. But that's probably the next phase, right? But now we have an ability to do that fairly easily. Okay. Any questions on the deployments? Yeah, the way our go live schedule worked, and my lead project manager on this, Kim, did a fantastic job, and we literally laid it out hour by hour, and we knew where the point of no return was. Right? There's going to be a point of time where we say go, and whatever happens, we're fighting it on the Unix side now. And that was really after all of that testing, right before our batch, right? Because the data hasn't changed. And we knew by X time, if we had to go back to the mainframe, how long it would take to run the batch and be up within our SLA the next business morning. So we had that on both sides. If we didn't get a go by X time, we got to go back to the mainframe or we're going to impact the business day.
You talked about the transaction process time. What about the batch window? How long would it take to run this on the mainframe and how long would it take to run it in this environment? Same or better or worse?
I would say overall it was the same. Clearly, the majority of the jobs ran much, much faster. There's a couple that ran slower, but at the end of the day, we were well within our SLA time. Those are improvements we're going to take on down the road. They weren't necessary to complete the project. So we're well within our SLA. We were well within our SLA on the mainframe. I would say overall they're probably equal.
I assume you used Solaris on the other.
We did.
Did you take advantage of the containers?
No. We're mainframe guys. we didn't know a lot of that stuff, right? And yes, exactly, right. So this is our first foray from at least my organization into into the Unix world. Obviously, we have architects and stuff in G that have done this stuff, but no, we kind of tried to not muddy the waters as much as we could. Any other questions?
Did you guys actually look at, or did Oracle push you, coming from an education and an open system side of the house? We also have a couple of answers that we're looking to decommission it. But did Oracle push you, or did you look at Exadata, Exalogic? Did you look at other vendors? Did you look at IBM? Because, you know, of course, I'm sure they came in and said, well, do something similar just on ACE or on, you know, X86.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were approached by a lot of companies, even vendors in the same space, right? As these guys, Micro Focus, right? We actually use Micro Focus's tools for our COBOL compiler, for our COBOL runtime environment. But they have tools that do this stuff too. We did look. I won't say we did a really good job of looking at everybody. We kind of found something that clearly worked, and we had a window to do it, and we jumped in.
So overall, did you drive this transformation?
Yes.
Or was it yours? So IT actually came out and
We went to the business.
change within the IT environment. It was not really, did not come from the CIO, let's say, reduce costs or else.
No, it actually bubbled up
From you guys.
up to the CIO.
You had to sell it out.
We did, and more importantly, sell it across to the business. Right? They're the ones that were going to be impacted if we messed up.
Environment.
Yeah, it was good.
A lot of risk on
We did.
for the companies. They should recognize.
We did. Thank you. I'll show you. I'll tell you where to send the email. Yeah, exactly. I may buying you a lot more drinks. Yeah.
How about selling to the folks who implement and maintain this application? What kind of stuff? Change the culture.
It's a good question. When we first launched this, everybody thought they were going to get laid off. Right? I mean, it's natural to think that, right? Oh my God, you're going to Oracle? I don't know Oracle. What we did was the rehosting allowed us to say, guys, you're the COBOL guys, and yeah, do I need you for COBOL? Can I go find somebody else to do COBOL? Yeah. But who else knows how the cache process works? Who else knows how we account for things on the lease streams? Who else knows how the pricing engine works? So the fact that we didn't wholesale rewrite this thing into Java or something like that, the IT folks got a sense of, and again, once they saw it in the proof of concept in the pilot, oh, you still need me, right? And it really wasn't an issue after that.
So would you recommend, like, for somebody who's embarking on this journey, to have it early on so these folks can buy in early in the game rather than taking
Yeah, I think as much as the pilot was, and even the proof of concept was good for us to see from a technology standpoint, if your business users aren't ready to jump in and they don't understand it and they don't think it's going to work, you're not. Even if you do get it to go, you're not going to be successful. They're going to be pulling against you the whole time. So that stuff, forget the technical aspect of it. Just letting them see that what you're saying is not a bunch of hooey, and letting them feel it was phenomenal. Very few. Like the Focus one that somebody asked about before is one of those. There's really not much that's left on the mainframe. We're already in the process of actually, we're not really shutting down the mainframe. We're going to shut down a different mainframe box and move people into the LPARs we were in, but we're already in the process of decommissioning. No, because, I mean, even the stuff that is going back to the mainframe, which, like I said, is very few and far between, it's converting it back to EPSIDIC, and it's just a transport, right? It's TCP/IP or NDM or whatever flavor you're using.
What would happen if you didn't do this?
We would have kept spending a lot of money, and eventually we'd have a skill set problem. Eventually we would have had to do something, because it's hard to find that skill set. I mean, everybody knows GE uses a ton of overseas developers and partners, and they don't want to do it either. You know, the kids coming out of school, they don't want to do this stuff. So we had to get away from this.
A lot of companies actually choose to do nothing.
I think that, yeah, and I think that'll work for a while, but at some point, you're going to do something. You're not going to have a choice. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Dale.
The waiting isn't going to make this any better.
I have one more quick slide that I want to share with you guys, and I know we're running out of time. So let me just run through this quickly. Just lessons learned recommendation, kind of a summary. Don't underestimate the amount of testing required. I can't say it enough. Don't boil the ocean, right? Like I said, we were going full boat. Got to break it up. It was one of the best decisions we made. Don't allow it to become an IT project. This is a business project. It's their system. They're the users. It's not an upgrade. It's not take the CD and install it. Okay? You got to get the business on board, and you got to take them with you the whole way. And I think this is something we missed on because we thought it would be more of an IT project than a business project. And clearly, 300 testers and 4,800 test scripts, it was much more of a business project. Sizing hardware for acceptable performance, it's not precise. It's not perfect. Right? We thought we had it, but how do you translate MIPS to CPUs? And oh, you want Sun CPUs? Well, now you need HP CPU. I mean, it's very difficult to do. We were close, but it's difficult. Code freeze pent-up demand, real quick. Neither vendor required us to do this. We chose to do it. I think the jury's still out on whether or not it was a good idea. Good idea for the project. We'll see what happens when I get back to Connecticut. There's a lot of work waiting for us. So, right decision, I still stand by it, but I think it's too early to tell whether it was really the right decision. And then finally, just conversion rehosting requires significant C-level support. You don't have that upper-level support from your business leaders. You know, it's an expensive project. It's a time-consuming project. It needs to push things out of the way. You got to have that level of support, or you're never going to be successful. And that was all I had. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When did you realize in the project that first architecture that you chose was
Really late.
really? How
Yeah.
did you then migrate so quickly and then purchase that hardware? Trade in?
No.
Some of that, or
No. Actually, what we did was the indirect side, and the reason why it was so late in the project, the indirect side, that smaller piece, is still on those M5000s. It won't be for long. We didn't have a performance problem there because the volume was so low. Once that was implemented and we started putting all of the indirect stuff into that environment, we went, oh my goodness, right? So at that point we had to scramble. We called in a lot of favors from Oracle, from Sun, from the hardware vendors, from our infrastructure team, to get that stuff in and configured and clustered and do DR tests, and we had to do that very quickly. And that was just our ability to move fast. I would have liked to have found that earlier, but we didn't. So our plans going forward are before the end of Q1, we will move the direct side over to the 9000s as well, and then sunset that environment.
If you had to do over, how would you have done it earlier?
It's a good question. I probably would have, from the beginning, taken both code bases and started to run them at the same time. But that's going to take away time from delivering your first part of that implementation. So I think you got to manage the expectations there that, hey, it's not going to take us 3 months to get the first piece in. It's going to take us 5 months, but it may save us 10 months on the other end. So that's what I would have done differently. But I don't know that would be an easy sell, but probably a worthwhile one. Any other questions? Otherwise, no? Okay. Thanks for your time, everybody.